I remember Quake 4 being a big deal when it came out around the launch of the 360. But after that, I don't remember hearing too much about it. I remember it getting like mixed to positive reviews, but that's about it. So I was at a game store recently and decided to pick it up for like, I don't know, $2, $3. It was really cheap, so I had to check it out. And I was pleasantly surprised with what's here. Graphically, I don't think the game looks too bad. I remember getting ripped on pretty hard back in the day for it looking pretty inferior to the PC version. But I mean, come on, it's the early 360 launch title. PCs were way ahead at consoles at the time. So it gets a pass in my book. The textures are a little questionable at times, but for the most part, it looks pretty decent. The game looks a lot like Doom 3, which makes sense considering it's an id Software game of the era, which I think is a good thing. With the way your flashlight casts shadows and everything, the corridors, and I really like Doom 3, so it being somewhat similar is good in my opinion. This game also really reminds me of like Wolfenstein, like the New Order, and I know that came out way later, but I can still kind of see like the beginnings of that in this, which is pretty cool to see, like, 10 years in the past, what things eventually became. As far as weapons goes, there's a big variety and a lot to choose from, and I really like how they feel, especially the shotgun. In this footage, I don't get too far, but eventually the game opens up to a lot more weapons to choose from and a lot more mods and stuff you can do, which is really cool, and it keeps it really fresh, especially when a lot of the corridors look relatively similar and there's a lot of the same enemy types, which isn't necessarily a bad thing, but the weapons really help spice it up. As far as the story goes, it's basically your standard shooter of the time. You go around with Marines, you do objectives, you do some turret missions, you go down through corridors, kill a bunch of enemies. And it's not bad, I don't mind it. It's kind of nostalgic for me. But there's a point in the game where it completely changes and something happens to your character. And I'm not going to spoil it too much, but I really like it. Also, I believe this game's a direct sequel to Quake 2. I could be wrong, but I think Quake 3 was more of like an online multiplayer. So this is more single player oriented, which I like. So yeah, the story's not too bad, just kind of basic. Unfortunately, this game isn't backwards compatible with the Xbox One. I'm sure it's online, but I like to play my game physically, so every time I want to play it, I gotta pull up my 360 and all that. It's not too big of a pain in the ass, but it's still a thing. Also, my copy came with a copy of Quake 2, which is really cool, because prior to then, I had only played it on the N64, which no, that sounds kind of weird, but it is what it is. So it's nice seeing how the game actually is and how it's supposed to be and comparing it to the N64 one. So that's a really cool feature that it has. I don't think every copy comes with it, but mine did, and it was nice. So that's my quick look at Quake 4 for the Xbox 360. This is by far not a comprehensive review, just a quick look at it just to see how it is and if it's worth playing in 2020, and I definitely think it is. Unfortunately, this is the last Quake game in the mainline series. Hopefully we get some more in the future, but until then, this is what we got. So thank you for watching, thank you for listening. There'll be more of these coming in the future. Thanks, bye.